wabra yira can offerata friwa obey place no Dr. Amin Adam Ababanti aba expose yira John Dramani Mahama wabra ye denisi no what's in name be a course or memo and there ususu se Ghana for any future bia under John Dramani Mahama ni nya ye nsem bia ye wase eye Ghana wu urade sanse nyama bia ye course or yira John Dramani Mahama ni administration no ohun se ebe ha Ghana da chi bi pa ensem pi ekikawe hu na Dr. Amin Adam former finance minister will be replacing Ken Ofuriatan and Ethiopia under the Nana Danko for the administration or the same baby now to for this new administration John Dramani Mahama and that no Nayan Semreno Ibakoni Abakuti Dr. Amin and some of the Ethiopia na Yakoba their Kenyano Beba Babakamo Tianko Nayankuti embassy here in the Massive
press conference, and he told the nation that the economy was bouncing back. You seem very excited about that. President Mahama last week put that all aside and said that the economy is a crime scene. If President Mahama's assertion that the economy is a crime scene, then Dr. Amin, you are a criminal, as it were. But here you were at the press conference yesterday, very fiery against the president that he was wrong. So the things you said, you didn't tell us, as President Mahama told us, that the country is in such significant debt. Who should we believe?
Well, Paul, I think it's important to put this in context. When a government leaves office, mostly the new government will want to call it all names. Because first of all, they have goodwill.
Yes, they want the big
people have just voted them. And they have to do things. And sometimes they want to do big things, some of them unpalatable. And so I have to call the previous government, like what we say, call a dog a bad name and hang it, in order to justify whatever difficult things I will want to do. And so I understand them, because they promised to scrap taxes.
Yes.
COVID-19 levy, betting tax, e-levy, and now they are in government. They are faced with a reality because they have to govern. And to govern means you have to find the resources. President was talking about debt service. President before paid debts. President Mills paid debts. Nana Akufo-Addo paid debts.
With the paid debts they had inherited.
Yes, they inherited.
Yeah.
So the Mahama cannot run away from it. He has to pay debts.
That he has inherited.
Yes. And therefore, we have to find the resources to do that, just as every government in Ghana has done. Now they want to do some more taxes.
They want to impose taxes on the people.
I have intelligence.
But how do you know that?
I have intelligence on what they are trying to do.
With the budget?
For example, if you ask the people in the mining industry, they will tell you that they have discussed with them about increasing the growth and sustainability levy.
What's that? Where did it go? Well, what is the growth and stabilizing levy?
It goes to the treasury.
Who took it out? Are they bringing? Is this something they're bringing back?
It's still there, but it's there already. It's been there for some time now. And when we came, we said we're going to suspend it. We continued with it. Now they want to increase the rate.
Or increase the rate?
Yes.
What percentage was it?
Yes, up to about 3%.
They want to bring it up to 3%. So they can make more revenue.
Yes.
What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with that. But when you have bastardized other people who have done that, I think they didn't love the country. They didn't love the people of the country. And so when you come, you're going to scrap the taxes that they brought in. And then you in turn bring in, taxes and increase the rates of existing taxes. That's quite problematic. Then we also know about exemptions, VAT exemptions on the financial services, non-life, insurance and other financial services, VAT exemptions on telecommunications. Talk to the people in telecommunications.
Yeah, those exemptions were announced by Ofuriatas at some point.
Yes, talk to the people in the telecommunications industry. They will tell you. We have had discussions with them about removing or eliminating the exemptions and therefore bringing the VAT back.
So VAT on telecoms.
Yes.
So on the consumer and the supplier?
So
or the consumer will now have to bear the brunt.
They don't have to bear because they will pass all this to consumers. You understand? And so when you want to do such difficult things, you have to call the previous government a bad government. Because I have challenged them. And no one has come to tell me so far that I lied. The president said we criminally mismanaged the economy.
Yes, he said
he didn't provide any basis. During the State of the Nation address, he repeated it, that he inherited an economy in crisis. He did not provide any basis. I listened to the Minister for Finance at the National Economic Dialogue, even though the President had said that the Minister was coming to tell the Ghanaian people the true state of the economy. I listened throughout. He did not make any basis for the conclusions, for the claims, unfounded baseless claims they have made. Maybe in the 2025 budget we will hear the true state of the economy.
The point you are making, you are concerned that the president, in addressing the parliament and the nation for that matter, said that the economy had been criminally managed, but he didn't provide any basis for it.
No basis.
But is that possible?
So what is the basis?
But is that possible?
You see,
I didn't hear all the address, but is it possible for a president of the nation to say the economy is bad? And he doesn't say, look at this sector, it's like this. Look at that sector, it's like this. Mr. Speaker, look at this. This economy is bad. We didn't say anything.
But if you want to evaluate an economy, there are various components of the economy.
Yeah, absolutely.
The real sector of the economy is one component. The external sector, your foreign relations, international trade, as we call it. This is one other sector.
Correct.
Then you have the financial sector. These are three key components of our economy.
Even the service.
Yes.
All of us can relate to service sector.
But if you look at the indicators, all these indicators point to the fact that the economy was strong before we left office.
I mean, overcome COVID.
Yes, I haven't heard of any control regime. Because let's look at the real sector, for example. Real GDP growth at the time President Mahama left office was just 3.4%.
In 17 years.
3.4%. That's 2016.
Yes.
3.4%. By the end of the third quarter of last year, average 6.4% real GDP growth.
Oh, last year, you mean 24?
6.4% average. Compare that with 3.4%. So if somebody will say this economy was bad, it's actually not President Mahama. Because 3.4 is his best record so far. Okay.
And the post-economic COVID that he inherited was going at 6%.
Yes, and this is an economy that was faced with COVID, that was faced with the war in Ukraine. At the time, President Mahama recorded 3.4%. There was not any major external shock. What I believe they were challenged with was DUMSO. But even a domestic issue like DUMSO could make them record such a low performance. Compared with the crisis that we have faced, global crisis that everybody knows about, we managed to post a real GDP growth of 6.4%. We are waiting for the Ghana Statistical Service to release the end-year GDP growth. I understand they will release it next week, around the 11 or 12 March.
End year 2024.
Yes, and you will see that.
You will see that inflation was okay.
You will see that the real GDP growth for 2024 is much more than the target for 2024.
Okay, so you exceeded your target.
The target was, first of all, 3.1% at the time the 2024 budget was presented. Mid-year, it was revised to 4%. Yet the economy still did about 6%. That is not an economy that is bad. It's an economy that has recovered strongly from the crisis that we faced between 2020 and 2022. And we saw it coming systematically. Because in 2023, for example, we were expected to grow at 1.5%. We grew at 2.9%. Then for 2024, we were to grow at 3.1%, later revised to 4%, and we grew at 6.4%. That's an economy that has rebounded strongly. So if the president can say the economy was bad, it was in crisis, what is the basis? That is when we look at the real sector. Now we come to the external sector. The external sector, if you look at current account balance, for example, which tells us our payment positions to the rest of the world. If your economy is not good, you will be in deficit. You will be in deficit. But what did we see? At the end of 2024, we had a current account surplus of 4.2% of GDP.
What does that mean?
Current account surplus.
Current accounts.
The payments we make to the rest of the world versus the payments they make to us.
Okay.
And that's why it talks about our external payment position.
So 4.1 will mean
4.2% of GDP in surplus.
Okay, we had
It
a
means
surplus
that,
that amounts to 4.2% of our GDP.
Yes.
Okay, so if our GDP was
compared with the deficit of 2% of GDP that President Mahama recorded in 2016.
Oh, I see. President Mahama left the incoming government in 2017 a deficit
Yes.
of 2.2%
3.1%
of GDP.
Yes, of
and
GDP.
you have given him for
Yes.
him
A
to inherit
surplus.
a surplus of 4.2%.
A surplus of 4.2%.
But why is nobody breaking these things down? Why are we allowing politicians to tell us what they think?
I've said this. I've said before we left office, and I've said it again yesterday. The president forgot about this. He didn't mention that in the State of the Nation address. And but let's also come to trade balance. Our trade relationship, our imports versus exports. When President Mahama left office, it was deficit 2%. Deficit 2%. It means
Imports,
that-
exports.
Yes.
We were in deficit,
Yes,
2%.
deficit 2%
of GDP.
Of GDP.
Okay.
We left office in 2024 with a surplus of 5.9%
Of GDP.
Yes.
Oh, you appear to have done well.
So that is the external sector. So we've seen the real sector. We've seen the external sector. Now let's come to the financial sector. We said we mismanaged the financial sector, and to the extent that the money we spent on doing the financial sector cleanup was a waste. But the figures don't show that it was a waste, because today the results show that the financial sector is stronger. And I'll give you the data. All the indicators, whether you are talking about the total assets, growth in the total assets of the banking sector, financial sector, which grew at 33.8% by the time we left office.
Banking sector?
Yes.
Grew by 33%.
Yes.
Year on year or what?
Yes, year on year.
So from 2023 to 2024, there's a growth in banking sector, 33%.
33%.
Where did you get that from?
In
Where did you get it?
December 2024.
Can I verify those
Yes,
figures
you can verify.
from Statistical Service?
No, the Bank of Ghana has published it. The Summary
see.
of Economic and Financial Data.
Oh, I see.
It's published, a public document.
So it's within the knowledge of the president and the Jubilee
Of course.
House.
So December 2024, it grew by 33.8% compared to December the same time in 2023. That's what we mean by year on
Year
year.
on year, yeah.
Okay? And then deposits. When we did the cleanup, the financial sector cleanup, we said we wanted to protect depositors' money. Today, as I'm talking to you, total deposits have grown significantly. It grew year on year at the end of December 2024 by 28.8%. That's not a financial
People were
sector.
saving money.
Yes.
People had money.
This is not a financial sector that is in crisis.
No, Minister, but this is when they always say that the
Deposits.
figures don't really match the market.
No.
Are you sure that Ghanaians were saving money
This is
to 28% of
This
2023
is
in
official
2024?
data. Deposits have grown year
But
on
everybody
year
was crying that
by
there's no money in our pocket.
28.8%. There is so much money, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you furthermore. There is so much money
In our pocket.
All the noise about treasury rates are
Yes,
decreasing.
MDC have said that.
It's not because there is so much money.
No, say that again. The treasury
The
bill
treasury
rate that the
rate is
government
decreasing.
is.
It's because there is so much money. The government is saying they are rejecting bids.
Yes,
People
yes,
want to buy.
that makes
they are
sense, that makes
rejecting.
sense, that
Because-
makes sense.
Because we've paid them. The bonds, the bond holders,
Oh,
they
the
paid
bonds have been
coupons.
paid. But they've been paid after 2 years of
No,
delay. We know
of
that.
course, we understand that.
After
That
2
is
years
why
of
we say
delay.
that. Look, much as is regrettable, some of these issues have to be taken to save the economy. And you can see the figures that have been churning out. The economy has been saved.
we have to-
That is why the economy recovered.
We have
And
to
so
clap
we
for
pray.
those Ghanaians who sacrificed.
Of course, we have to. And I apologize.
Yeah, you did. You did.
Some month before the election.
Yeah.
And because no government wants to hurt these people deliberately. Okay, it was for the sake of saving this economy. And the economy was saved before we left the office. And so, last year alone, we paid close to 17 billion Ghana cedis in coupons to bondholders, domestic bondholders. So when President Mahama issued a statement that they were going to, he has directed the Minister of Finance to pay bondholders 6 billion Ghana cedis, it wasn't in the royalty. It wasn't new.
Oh, I see.
Except
Were
that,
they obeying the timetable?
yes, they opened the
Timetable that you had set out?
Yes.
Okay.
And we had made 3 previous payments the year before.
You didn't talk about it.
No, he didn't.
You didn't talk about the
We
payments you
did.
made.
We always issued statements.
Okay.
But this time the president issued a statement.
Himself.
From the presidency.
Yes.
As if it is new. As if he was doing something great. The Ministry of Finance had always issued a statement anytime we paid the bondholder. This money are in the hands of, because we don't have bonds again. The only source of borrowing domestically now is T-bills. And so government can only take so much. That's why they are rejecting some, bids for, and I believe also that some of the now resident investors are coming through treasury market through domestic institutions. The IMF program doesn't allow them to take invest in our T-bills. But I believe some of them are coming through domestic institutions. That is why there is so much money chasing the T-bills and they are rejecting it. And when you reject T-bills, the demand, show the demand is reducing, and therefore the rate will certainly come down. That's what they have done. It's not any magic. There is not any sustainable strategy. I am happy T-bills rates are coming down because we government will borrow a relatively lower price. But what is the strategy? What's the strategy? Secondly, they are not spending.
Yeah, but they can't spend yet.
They are not spending. They are not paying contractors, for what they have done. Don't forget that.
I need to verify these things.
No, but don't forget that before, we left office, I went to Parliament and presented the votes on account, the budget for the first 3 months of the year. 68 billion Ghana cedis. These guys are not spending. And they have so much money coming in for them to spend. So what they are doing with the money, I'm here to ask. I want to find.
They should, to be fair to them, shouldn't they have a budget before they spend? Shouldn't they finish presenting a budget to Parliament?
There is a budget for the first 3 months.
They are operating.
Yes, which has been approved by Parliament. 68 billion Ghana cedis. But why are they not paying contractors?
They need to verify these things.
No. And they are getting so much money. Look, we left a buffer of about 5 billion Ghana cedis for them. In January alone, Ghana Revenue Authority collected 8.7 billion Ghana cedis. And they have gone to borrow from TV 67 billion Ghana cedis so far. And now I'm hearing them talk about net borrowing. There's nothing like net borrowing. When people have rolled over, that is borrowing.
So you mean when President Mahama said the economy was not
rolled
good,
over at a different interest rate,
which is new?
It's new borrowing. So 67 billion you have borrowed in less than 2 months, and now you come and tell me I borrowed. In less than 2 months, you borrowed 67 billion Ghana.
What did they borrow for if you say they are not spending?
They are supposed to spend, and so I'll be filing a question in Parliament to ask them what they did with all the money that have come, to them. So these are the challenges that we are faced with. So I was talking about the external sector. Now, the financial sector is what I was talking about. Even if you look at the profitability of the financial sector, it's been well established. They have returned to profitability.
The banks?
Yes, the banks.
Like which one?
For example, return on equity after tax grew at 34.2% in December 2023 and 30.8% in December 2024.
What is return on equity after tax?
Return on equity. So you have equity if you invested your own money, and then the returns on it
is growing.
It's growing.
That means the banks are paying more for keeping your money.
The banks are getting more money for the money they are investing.
They're getting better rates for the money they are investing.
They also invest,
Why does that mean it's a good economy? Maybe they're not investing in Ghana.
No, but if you go and put, of course, a lot of them are investing in Ghana.
Okay.
But what is the size of their assets that they could go, investing elsewhere? They are investing in Ghana. And even the capital market also shows that the economy is strong.
The stock exchange?
Stock exchange, all share index grew by the end of 2024 by 56%.
Growth.
56%.
So that's a huge one.
Year to date, yes. Year to date.
In 2024.
December 2024.
56%.
Yes.
Ghana stock exchange.
56% Ghana stock exchange.
They're also
index.
So that every stock grew.
Yeah. So this is the economy we are talking about.